Well, good morning. This morning we read from Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse 23 through to the end of chapter 23. And it starts off with God again speaking out against false prophets. The false prophets have put themselves on the side of the rich and the powerful. They'd excused their evil deeds of exploiting the poor. And God said, I'm against you. And he again declared those who put themselves on the side of the rich and powerful that they had not spoken in his name. One of the ways we can tell whether a person is speaking for the Lord or not is whose side are they on. God is against injustice and greed and exploitation. If the prophet claiming to speak in the name of the Lord is for people who behave in such a way, then they are not from the Lord. The message should be clear. God is for justice and fairness in all that is given to the humankind. And then we come on to chapter 23. Up before that, let me just come back to this. I look for someone who would build a wall and who would stand in the gap on behalf of the land. God was looking for a faithful person, a faithful leader, someone who would defend his land from the false prophets, someone who would stand up and would prevent the enemy rushing in through the gaps. But there was no one able to defend his people. Either they weren't strong enough or powerful enough, but for whatever reason, there was no one who could stand in the gap. Let's be strong for the Lord and stand in the gap and protect that which the Lord has given us. Let's protect the message. Let's protect the gospel. Let's protect the church and not allow that which is false to come in. Let's stand in the gap in prayer and let's be praying for those who are in need. And then we come on to chapter 23, and chapter 23 is another one of those Ezekiel chapters that is extremely graphic in its in the picture language that it uses. It compares Israel and Judah to two prostitutes who just give themselves away throughout their life. When they were young, they gave themselves to Egypt. Now, many years later, they're giving themselves to Assyria and Babylon. And those are the very nations who oppress them, yet they give themselves to worship the false gods of those nations and to bow down before them. And God says he's going to judge them. They've taken what belongs to the Lord and given it to idols and given it to false gods, given it to human powers, the powers of the time, the superpowers of the time. And God requires his people to stay loyal to him. The language is graphic. The language is shocking. If teenagers knew this was in the Bible, they'd spend a lot of time reading the Bible and giggling to each other. But in this graphic language is a very clear message. It shows us by the graphicness of the language how disgusting God finds it. When his people, who he has redeemed, who he has loved, who he has poured blessings into the lives of, when those people who he has loved give their love to other gods, God finds it repulsive and uses this repulsive language in order to describe his disgust. Let's not be those who disgust the Lord. Let's stay loyal to him. Let's stay true to him. Let's stay faithful. Not surrendering to the powers of this world or the false doctrines and teachings of this world, but let's stay loyal to the Lord who called us. The Lord bless you today. Amen.